So do you guys remember the Somnium files, the one game that I did an Uncapped on? Yeah, turns out that game didn't sell very well, at least according to some unverified sources, and honestly, that's not surprising. But there's a lot more nuance to this conversation than just, this game got woke and therefore it got broke, which is what I want to talk about in this video. But before we get started, YouTube might demonetize this video because I talk about the rainbow people, so if you like to support my work, you can do so through the links down below. In case you missed it, the Somnium files, and yes, I'm pronouncing it the Somnium files because the game is about and can also be about AI, but I'd rather pronouncing it because it's a lot easier to say. It was made by the developers of Zero Escape. Zero Escape and Nunnery games are two of my favorite games of all time. They're not just an intriguing visual novel with a story that would bend your mind, but they're also really good puzzle games that would also bend your mind. So it's no surprise that I caught some interest in the Somnium files. If you want to know what I like and didn't like about the game, you can check out my Uncap in detail. To put it short, the game is a mixed bag. I really love the story. It's very quirky, charming, lighthearted, and just all around fun, if a bit cringy at times. I also really like the murder mystery aspect of the game. It's from the guys who made Zero Escape, so they did a good job at keeping me intrigued. The puzzle gameplay, on the other hand, is a heap of trash. Unlike the Nunnery games, the puzzle mechanics don't work on the basis of logic. It works based on whatever the game wants it to be, and it's not helped thanks to the fact that you have a limited time in solving it. That leads to loads and loads of trial and error and a really bad headache. Also, despite being a lot shorter than the Nunnery games, they still have the gall to charge you $60 for it. That's right, a narrative-driven puzzle game for $60. And the puzzle is really bad. But hey, at least you're not in Japan, because if you are, you're getting seriously ripped off. When I visited Japan in Akihabara at Yodobashi Akiba, I found a physical copy of the Switch version of the game, which costed 70-90 yen, which is around $65. They're charging quite a bit for this game, although maybe it's because the games are rather overpriced in that mall. I don't know, I'm just there looking around and I haven't checked the prices in detail, but I can tell you this. The Steam version of this game costs 700,000 rupiah, which is about $50, and that's still not a good deal. So from this point on, we can already see the underlying issue here. This game didn't sell very well because the game is not a good value, or at least it's one of the reasons. Despite the really enjoyable and wacky story, the gameplay cannot save it from being worthy of that $60 price tag. And $60 is not a competitive price tag for a visual novel. I know that there are some visual novels that charge that much, but it's still a terrible deal, considering that you can get Fire Emblem Three Houses or Astral Chain, for example, at that same price, or even buy the Nunnery games on Steam, which are not only ridiculously cheap, but also have better story and a lot more content. Not to mention that the gameplay is also a lot better too. The game doesn't offer a good enough value for the consumers to convince them that this is a game that they should buy. Unfortunately, this game has to be $60. The developers put a lot of effort in making this game look good. The character animation, the dubs, the environment, the puzzles, they're not exactly cheap. This is not like the Zero Escape games where it's just mostly text and it's delivered in a visual novel fashion. Even the puzzle mechanics are simplistic, or at least simplistic in terms of the presentation. This game is spending way too much budget for such a game with a niche audience, kind of like giving Euro Truck Simulator 2 a story mode and combat mechanics. Oh, wait a second, that's basically Death Stranding, but Death Stranding has marketing, whereas this game has so little, there might as well not be one. The Steam's description of this game is that it was from the mind of Uchikoshi, who made Zero Escape, and also the character design of No More Heroes and Fire Emblem. As much as I love Zero Escape, they're two incredibly niche games, and they too have a history of their sales bombing. The Nunnery games have a history of bombing in Japan, and while 999 managed to sell surprisingly well in the US, Virtue's Last Reward bombed big time in all fronts, even though that's the game that has the most routes and endings and puzzles, and don't get me started with Zero Time Dilemma. So trying to market a video game based on the fact that you made a series that not a lot of people know is like trying to sell yourself as a famous musician because you made remixes with only like 100 views. It's not exactly gonna go very well, and the fact that you spend way too much budget on the visuals, the character design, the music, the dubs, but also also charge $60 for this very niche title is only going to dissuade people even further when the competition is offering better products at that $60 price tag. So considering that this game receives little to no marketing, how do I even know that it existed? It's because some people on Twitter really like that scene where the character just essentially waved the rainbow flag, a rather ham-fisted scene that tries to appeal to the Western audiences, practically begging them to buy this game. I tried to look up for the game and I found out that it's from the creators of Zero Escape, which is why I bought it for a rather hefty price at the time, but it's Zero Escape, so it must be good, right? Actually, come to think of it, this game tries its hardest to cater itself to the Western audiences, and it's not just by waving the rainbow flag, it's also through the rest of the non-mystery parts of the game. You got the girl who is a streamer playing Minecraft and also an idol at the same time, the fanboy who makes the accounts to white knight the girl in question. Who is this game made for? I'm pretty sure most people who enjoy Zero Escape are adults and not some Minecraft kid. I can enjoy the humor of the game just fine, I like myself some dumb humor, but I don't think most adults who like Zero Escape will. The game is confused on who the target audiences is, and come to think of it, I think this game might be another Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Seriously, think about it. This is a game marketing itself on the popularity of niche titles by including mainstream elements that really don't appeal to anybody. I mean, Zero Escape is practically the SMT to Danganronpa's Persona. Danganronpa is also a mystery series made by the same developer, Spike Chunsoft. It's just that Danganronpa knows it's appealing to a more mainstream audiences, and they sell a lot better. And thus, The Somnium Files is the game that tries to hit both markets and failed, just like Tokyo Mirage Sessions. To put it simply, all of this is because the game is simply way too desperate. The game is too desperate for an audience, which is why it tries to appeal to everybody while actually appealing to no one in particular. Not only that, but this game is not advertised very well. I know about this game because of some Twitter hoopla about that metaphorical rainbow flag waving scene, and that's not very good marketing. If only this game has more advertisement, then maybe people would notice it, but they clearly don't. And even if the game is advertised well, I'm not sure on who would play this game. Maybe if they like their serious mystery thriller mixed in with the most popular thing in current year, but I don't think those people would pay $60 for it when other competitors provide a much better value at that price point. This is why in my UNCAPPED reviews, I judge video games based on the price. $60 is still an expensive price, and if you're offering a video game at that price point, it better be good. And unfortunately, it's quite rare for games to reach that $60 price point and be a good value. And this game is not one of them. So why am I talking about the bombing of this game in particular, and not other games? Well, it's because some people think that just because this game got woke, therefore it went broke. But sometimes, there's more to the story than just that. This game did get woke, but that's because the game is desperately trying to cater into that Western audiences. Being woke is just one of the things they did. They also did the Minecraft thing and the stream girl thing. This game is trying to appeal to both the general audiences and the people who like Zero Escape, which is why it failed, because it appealed to neither. And just because you got woke doesn't always mean that you got broke. People accuse Mortal Kombat 11 of getting woke thanks to the female characters not being as appealing as their previous games. And yet the game sells very well, because the gameplay itself is actually good, and the game has good marketing. This video serves as a way to illustrate to you that there's more to the story than just that, and these other factors and why it went broke are more important for you than just on the mere fact that it went woke. You can make a game that is not woke, but if your game is catered to a very niche audience, you spend way too much budget on the visuals, and you charge $60 for this niche game, you're not gonna get sales just because you didn't get woke. These gamers who spite the woke crowd are consumers too. They have limited money and they want to spend those money carefully on games that actually provide good gameplay and good story. While this game did provide me with entertainment, it's not $60 quality worth of entertainment. There are other better games you can spend your money on at this price point, and that's just the reality of this gaming industry. If you're going to make your game to be $60, you're gonna have a lot of other $60 games as your competition. And at that price point, if you're just a visual novel, unless if your Detroit become human level of production quality, you better just give up. So what can we learn about this entire thing? Well, there are many things that we can learn from this, and I want you all to take notes. The first thing that you should learn is to price your games competitively for $60. Do you want to buy a visual novel mystery game that you can finish in around 12 hours? Or a role-playing game with tons of character, storyline, and 100 hours plus worth of content? The second thing is, who are you making this game for? Are you making this game for adults who enjoyed your previous work? Or are you making this game for 12-year-olds who like cringy humor and who like to wave the rainbow flag everywhere? The third thing is, how are you going to market this game for those particular people? This game received little to no marketing, and the only time where I know about this game is some random Twitter hoopla. Do you think that those specific people are willing to spend $60 on this game that receives little to no marketing? I, the Somnium Files, like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, is a cautionary tale for game developers, especially Japanese game developers. A cautionary tale about how overestimating your audiences would lead to your product into failure. A cautionary tale about how lazy and desperate pandering to the younger demographic would only lead to the alienation of your original, older demographic. I'm not a fan of the Danganronpa series, but one thing that they did right is knowing who their target audiences are and marketing those games for those specific audiences. There's a reason why those games are more popular and marketable than Zero Escape, as much as I love Zero Escape. So for those of you who are going to the game industry, know your audience as well, market to those people well, and don't expect all of them to just shell out $60 for you. Unfortunately, some of you are so simple-minded that anything that isn't woke is worthy of shelling that $60 hard-earned cash. But let's be real here, the more you keep shelling out $60 for games that are not woke, I think you're the one who will get the taste of the broke.